Steps in counting coliform bacteria. Counting coliform bacteria involves 3 steps. The MPN technique is used to estimate coliform bacteria, not total bacteria, and therefore selective and differential media must be used. There are 3 stages to this method, that is, 1 the presumptive test, second one the confirmed test, and the third one the completed test. First step is the presumptive test. The samples are first inoculated into lactose broth containing a Durham tube. In a positive culture, growth will occur with the production of both acid and gas. Because few other types of bacteria can ferment lactose and yield acid and gas, a positive presumptive test is a very good indication of the presence of coliform. And the second one is the confirmed test. Some non-coliform bacteria can yield a false positive in the presumptive test. Thus, all positive lactose broth cultures are subjected to the confirmed test. A loopful of each culture is streaked onto eosin methylene blue agar, that is EMB agar, and inoculated into brilliant green lactose bile broth. EMB is a differential medium. Eosin and methylene blue combine to yield a distinctive coloration pattern for coliform bacteria. The presence of bile and brilliant green in BGLBB make this medium selective for gram-negative bacteria. A confirmed test is positive when colonies with a green metallic shine form on EMB and gas occurs in BGLBB. Then the final step is the completed test. Cells from an isolated colony on EMB are transferred to an agar slant and again transferred to lactose broth. If acid and gas are again observed and gram-negative rods are found in the slant culture, then the identification of coliform is considered positive. For this test, the materials required are 5 tubes of double strength lactose broth with green cap, 3 tubes of single strength lactose broth, red cap. One of these is for completed test, and 1 sterile 16 mm test tube with black cap for collecting water sample, 1 nutrient agar slant with yellow cap, 1 10 ml pipette, 2 1 ml pipettes, 1 plate of EMB agar, and media bottle containing 99 ml of sterile water, 1 tube of brilliant green bile lactose broth with blue cap. Now we will understand the procedure. For the presumptive test, collect a water sample into the sterile 16 mm tube. Transfer 1 ml of the sample to the bottle containing 99 ml of sterile water and thoroughly mix the sample. Using a 10 ml pipette, aseptically inoculate each tube of double strength lactose broth with 10 ml of the water sample. Using a 1 ml pipette, inoculate 1 tube containing single strength lactose broth with a 1 ml volume of the water sample. Using another 1 ml pipette, inoculate a second tube of single strength lactose broth with a 0.1 ml volume of the water sample. Incubate the tubes at 37 degrees centigrade temperature for 48 hours. A positive presumptive test is indicated by the formation of both acid and gas. Lactose broth is red initially and turns yellow under acidic conditions. Record the results and determine the MPN of coliform in the water samples from the MPN table. Multiply this value by 100, the dilution of the original water sample. Then the second step is confirmed test. Normally, confirmed and completed test would be run for all positive presumptive tests. Run a confirmed test for only one tube showing a positive presumptive test. From a tube containing presumptive coliform, inoculate a tube of brilliant green lactose, bile broth, and streak a plate containing eosin methylene blue agar. Both media are selective for gram-negative bacteria. Incubate at 37 degrees centigrade for 48 hours. A positive confirmed test will show the presence of dark centered colonies with a metallic green shade. Other non-coliform colonies have different appearances. Gas formation in BGLBB is also positive. Both tests must be positive for a positive confirmed test, and after that record the results. Then the completed test, that is the final step. From an isolated colony with a typical coliform appearance from EMB plate, re-inoculate a tube of lactose broth and a TSA gland. Incubate both tubes at 37 degrees centigrade for 24 to 48 hours. A positive completed test is indicated by the formation of acid and gas in the lactose broth and gram-negative rods on the nutrient agar. Then record the results. So students, today we have discussed about the two most important methods of bacteria. One is the standard plate count method, the other one is most probable count method. These are very important methods in assessing the microbial quality or quantity in the foods. Hello students, today we are going to discuss about bacteriological analysis of food. The main objective of this lesson is to develop skills related to microbial analysis of various foods. This topic will enable you to appreciate the application of scientific procedures and knowledge in microbiological analysis of foods. Under this chapter, we will be discussing about the microbiological examination of foods. Foods and water, generally they are contaminated with pathogenic microorganisms or major avenues for the spread of infectious diseases. In this country, strict state and federal guidelines regulate food and water processing industries. Even so, many outbreaks of diseases linked to contaminated foods or water occur every year. Municipal water and food products are routinely monitored for both the total number of microorganisms and presence of pathogenic, but there are many challenges to doing so. Even non-pathogens, if present in large enough numbers, can cause deterioration of food products and distaste in water. And testing for all types of pathogens is not practical since we do not know which may be present. The alternative to testing for many different types of pathogens is to test for bacteria that indicate the potential presence of pathogens. The most common source of pathogens in food and water is fecal contamination of either animal or human origin. Feces also contain innumerable non-pathogenic bacteria, and the presence of these other bacteria in food or water indicates that fecal contamination has occurred and the potential presence of pathogens are there in the foods. The most commonly used indicator bacteria are fecal coliform and fecal enterococci. Coliform bacteria can serve as indicators of fecal contamination. Coliform are defined as gram-negative aerobic or facultative anaerobes, non-spore forming, rod-shaped bacteria that ferment lactose with acid and gas production. E. coli, the most abundant bacterium of the human colon, is the most important indicator of human fecal contamination. However, some coliform bacteria are of non-fecal origin and may be present in uncontaminated samples. Thus, testing for coliform bacteria involves several tests to minimize the possibility of false positive results. Now we understand the methods of counting bacteria. Basically, there are two standard methods of counting bacteria. One, the standard plate count, that is SPS method, and second one is the most probable number method, that is MPN method. Either technique can be used with selective or non-selective technique. The method of choice depends largely upon the number of bacteria to be counted in the sample. The SPS is routinely used for samples that have a relatively large number of bacteria which can be diluted down and grown as a countable number of colonies in a Petri plate. The MPN method is used when the number of bacteria to be counted is so low that the cells could not be detected if a sample were applied to a plate, which is often the cause when counting coliform bacteria. First, we will learn about standard plate count of bacteria in food products. The standard plate count is the most common method used to quantify bacteria in foods. To perform a standard plate count, the food to be tested is suspended in liquid and a sample is then spread over the surface of a solid medium in a Petri plate. Bacterial cells present will form colonies that can be counted to determine the number of cells in the original sample. When the objective is to estimate the total number of bacteria, a complex medium called plate count agar is commonly used since it will support growth of many different types of bacteria. The results are called as the number of colony forming units, not total bacteria. This is because no single culture medium will support all different types of bacteria. We can only count those that do grow to form a visible colony. Serial dilution of samples. When performing a bacteria count, between 30 and 300 bacterial colonies need to be on the plate. A minimum of 30 assures that the data is statistically reliable. However, if there are more than 300 colonies are present, competition for nutrients can suppress growth of colonies. For example, if a sample were to contain 10 to the power of 6 cells per ml, a 1 ml sample could contain 10 to the power of 6 bacteria, far more than the 300 cell limit of a standard plate count, and the sample must be serially diluted. The standard way to dilute a sample in microbiology is through serial dilution. A sample is diluted stepwise in a series of tubes containing sterile diluent. Each step is a particular dilution factor. Dilution factor for each step is equal to final volume of the tube by volume of the sample added to the tube, from which the total dilution of the sample can be calculated. The total dilution of sample plated is equal to product of all dilution steps by volume of the sample plated. Since the original concentration of bacteria in the food sample is unknown, we will plate several dilutions and hope that at least one will yield between 30 to 300 colonies on the plate. For this, the materials required are sterile 1 ml pipettes, 7 tubes containing 9 ml of sterile distilled water with yellow caps, and 4 plates containing plate count bottom agar, 4 tubes containing 4 ml of overlay agar held at 50 degrees centigrade temperature with clear cap. The procedure is like, first, there are some helpful hints which have to be considered when performing dilutions. First step is to shoot to observe aseptic technique and use a new sterile pipette for each dilution step. Thoroughly mix each tube before proceeding with the next dilution step. However, do not mix so violently that the contents splash near the cap. Preparation of serial dilutions. As previously noted, some guesswork must be performed to estimate the number of bacteria in food samples. In this case, it will be estimated that the spoiled milk contains 10 to the power of minus 5 to 10 to the power of minus 9 bacteria per ml. Plan serial dilution clearly and copy them neatly in the space provided on the results pages. Plate samples from samples diluted from 10 to the power of 4 to 10 to the power of 7. Note that 30 colonies on a plate at 10 to the power of 4 dilution represents an original concentration of 3 into 10 to the power of minus 5, and 300 colonies on a plate at 10 to the power of minus dilution represents an original concentration of 3 into 10 to the power of 9. Plating the diluted sample. A 1 ml sample from the selected tubes will be plated using the agar overlay method. This technique helps to distribute the cells evenly over the plate surface. Label along the edge of the bottom of 4 bottom agar plates with names and date. The dilution factor of the sample plated. Prepare one overlay at a time following the procedure. Working near one of the 50 °C water baths, aseptically pipette 1 ml into a tube of soft agar. Mix the overlay thoroughly by rotating the tube between the palms of hands. Pour the overlay into the bottom agar, reposition the lid and gently fill the plate to spread the overlay. Return the plate to bench and allow the overlay to solidify. Incubate all of the plates at 37 °C for 24 to 48 hours. Then we will learn the counting the colonies. Most of the colonies that form will occur within the agar overlay, that is below the surface. However, some colonies will be seen growing on the surface of the agar, which may suppress formation of colonies and cause an underestimate of the actual bacterial numbers. The colonies can be easily counted with the bacterial colony counters present in the lab. Now we will learn about steps in counting the colonies by using colony counter. Place the plate upside down on the colony counter. Turn on the power switch. This will illuminate the plate from below. Count the colonies while viewing through plate through the magnifying glass mounted above it. Mark the Petri plate over each colony with a marking pen to indicate which colonies have been counted. Use the hand tally provided to record the number of colonies counted. When done, record results in table and properly discard the plates. Calculating the original cell concentration. The concentration of bacteria in the original samples is calculated by multiplying the colony counts by the total dilution factor. Only plates that contain between 30 and 300 colonies should be used to calculate the original concentration. If multiple plates fall within this range, then average the concentrations calculated for each plate. Using the most probable number technique to count coliform in water. In water, only a few coliform per liter can represent a potential health hazard. In this situation, the concentration of cells is too low to count with a standard plate count. No cells may be present within any particular 1 ml sample. The most probable number technique is one solution to this problem. The theory of most probable number counts. The MPN technique is a statistical method of estimating the concentration of bacteria. Imagine a hypothetical situation where a sample of water contains 10 bacteria evenly dispersed in 100 ml of water. If different sample volumes were analyzed, each 10 ml sample withdrawn would contain one cell, but only 1 out of 10 1 ml samples would contain a cell. If the samples were added to culture media, the samples containing a cell would grow slowly. Conversely, knowing the volume of the samples and the number of tubes showing growth could know the concentration of bacteria in an unknown original sample. For example, suppose a water sample were analyzed with the following results like volume cultured and number of samples cultured and number of cultures showing bacterial growth. Like if it is volume culture is 10, number of samples cultured are 10 and number of cultures showing bacterial growth 10. Then volume cultured 1, number of samples cultured 20 and number of cultures showing bacterial growth 2, and volume culture 0.1, number of samples cultured 20 and number of cultures showing bacterial growth are 0. Then since the smallest sample size that yielded growth was 1 ml and growth occurred in 2 out of the 20 samples tested, the number of bacteria in the virginal could be calculated as 2 cells per 20 ml, that is 5 cells per 100 ml. In the real world, bacteria are randomly but not evenly distributed in a water sample. Thus, if 20 1 ml samples were cultured, growth might occur in fewer or more than 20 tubes, and some tubes in which growth occurs might actually start with 2 or more cells. If growth occurs, all we know is that at least one viable bacterial cell was present. However, because the cells are randomly distributed, statistical techniques can be used to estimate the number of bacteria in the virginal sample, that is the most probable number.